It feels like 6 months since Don Waddell resigned from his position as the GM of the Carolina Hurricanes. Hasn't quite been that long, but I believe it's been too long. Maybe not that long, but still too long. Which is why last night, shortly after we got off the show, I read this tweet from Frank Saravalli, and I went, maybe this is the beginning of the end of our wondering of who the Canes GM will be. Again, this is from Frank Saravalli. This is not from the Canes. It's not an official announcement of any kind, but this is what it says. Sources say candidates in the Carolina GM search have been notified that the team plans to fill the role internally. Believe that means Eric Tulsky will become the next Canes GM. He has been interim GM since Don Waddell resigned to join the Columbus Blue Jackets. End of tweet. Now, first of all, although it does appear that way, we have not been confirmed that Don Waddell resigned to join the Columbus Blue Jackets. He resigned and then a couple days later accepted the job with the Columbus Blue Jackets. You can connect dots if you want to.
Well, there was reported that he was given permission
to interview with them prior to resigning, yes. Eric Tulsky was the assistant GM prior to Don Waddell's departure, and reportedly was part of what we've been calling this Knights of the Round Table. So he was already, occupying a seat at the decision-making table, which I believe that structure right there is part of what's made it so difficult to fill the GM role, is because traditional GM candidates don't want to come in somewhere where they're going to be, 1/5 of the decision-making process. They want to come in somewhere where they might have people with influence or people with opinion, people that are part of the decision-making process, but GMs want to have the final decision. And it doesn't appear as if that's how it goes with the Canes. It's much more of a, I don't even know if the majority rules. We have to come to a consensus. Let's all get in a room and hash this out. And that's not as attractive to GMs. So Eric Tulsky, who advanced degree, analytically minded, smart school, knows the numbers, knows the analytics behind a hockey decision, again, according to Frank Saravalli, has a good chance of becoming the next Canes GM. To me, there's still a few things that need to be done. First of all, the number one thing I would say, if that ends up being the case, is congratulations to Eric Tulsky. No pressure, but you got about a year or two to win a cup before everybody starts getting pretty upset. The next thing I would say is, all right, perfect. If it is Eric Tulsky's job, how do you give him the support he needs? Right? Think of a front office like a team. Okay? Think of a front office. We'll use a hockey team as the example. We could use any sport. We'll use a hockey team since we're talking hockey.
Go on.
If you have a player who is an exceptional setup guy, you need to surround him with shooters, right? You need to surround him with scorers. Mm-hmm. Meanwhile, if you have your guy, your cornerstone that you're going to build around, who is a assassin, a sniper, a shooter, you're going to need to get him around people that know how to play the spacing and know how to work off of that attention and know how to build off of that. Like there are good fits and bad fits. You need to identify what Eric Tulsky's strengths are, and you need to identify what Eric Tulsky's weaknesses are, and then you need to go find people that can support him that overcome those weaknesses. It's been said on this program a bunch that I believe, and Dennis, I believe you back me up on this, that Don Waddell in a lot of ways was the hockey guy. And what I mean by that is the person that's been in the NHL for a long time, the person that played the game at a high level, the person that understood kind of the way things work, right? And you need both, right? You need somebody that understands the analytics and the future of the game and the innovation of the game and all of that, but you also need someone to look at him and go, that doesn't make much sense, right? The whole, ready for this?
Okay.
Is a tomato a fruit?
Yes.
Yes, it is. Intelligence is knowing that a tomato is a fruit. Wisdom is not putting it in a fruit salad, right? And smart people know both. right? You need the person that's like, well, technically the seeds are on the inside of the fruit, and that makes it a technical member of the fruit family. And you need someone there going like, if I bite into some honeydew, a strawberry, some blackberries, and a tomato, it's not going to taste good in the fruit salad. Eric Tulsky is the guy sitting there saying like, well, actually, we need a little bit better defensive pairing because this pairing is not aligning with how good they are individually in different pairings. And then you need someone there going like, yeah, we also need someone to be recklessly physical that's just going to intimidate and protect Sebastian Aho and Seth Jarvis, because that's the way hockey works. Right? You need somebody, you need both, right? You need somebody to say, hey, I think when we're trading Martin Necas, Vancouver might be a team we should look to because they have X, Y, and Z player or contract situation or prospect that will, our analytics say is going to work. And then you need someone to say, great, I know the GM in Vancouver. We play golf together in the offseason. Let me give them a call and see if I can't figure out what they're looking for. You need both. So if you get rid of Don Waddell without replacing what he brought to the table, that's going to be a struggle. Now, if Eric Tulsky was the numbers guy for Don Waddell, now he moves into the number one chair. He moves into the GM chair. That's fine. I think you'd probably need an assistant GM, a consultant, a someone else to be in the room where they're making decisions that has more of that other thing, right? You need to balance. If you have a guy that, in basketball, if you have a guy that likes to drive, well, the other backcourt better like to shoot. Like it's a give and a take. It's a yin and a yang. It's however you want to describe it. That's where the Canes are.
There are things that you can't measure in terms of analytics. Mm-hmm. Like, for example, go back to the last game that the Carolina Hurricanes played against the New York Rangers at home. Like Jordan Martinook sliding back to save a puck off the goal line. Show me that in the analytics.
Yep.
Like, that's the kind of that's the kind of compete, the heart and soul that our team needs. There it is right there. Quantify the numbers however you want. I still need that dude on my team.
My equation says this player is going to be great for us. And then somebody has to say, actually, I talked to a guy who's been in his locker room the last 2 years. When Rod yells at him, he's gonna wilt.
Yeah.
And it's like, ooh, don't want to bring that guy into the Canes. You know what I mean? When Rod asks him to play our system, which is exhausting, he's gonna pout. And I'm not saying there's anyone out there with that exact, but you need to make both checks. Because I've seen it, right? I this is a little different, but I played college football. I remember transfers coming in that the coaches were so excited about. Right, because back in the day before the transfer portal, I played at the FCS level, the old 1AA level, and you didn't have to sit out to transfer from FBS to FCS. Mm-hmm. So we used to play that to our advantage. We used to bring in transfers; they'd play right away. We were a pipeline from the University of Maryland to the University of Delaware, and every once in a while there'd be a transfer. I remember one coming in from UConn. Our coaches were so excited. He's getting here. There's one kid that came in from Auburn that they were so excited about. And I'll tell you what, that first day of practice, we were all excited about him because it was like big, fast, strong. Look at this. Oh, my goodness. About halfway through camp, never mind, because you realize that like 2-a-days, this guy gave up. And you're going like, 6'4", 230, runs a 4.5. Looked good on paper.
Yeah.
I'm sure the analytics said it was going to be great. You can put a little adversity in front of them, they trail off. And that's nothing that would show up on the back of their trading card, right? None of those statistics would show that. You need both. So Eric Tulsky, if he's named the GM, great. I still think there's some tweaking they need to make to their front office, and maybe it's a hire that Eric Tulsky would make, assistant GM, consultant, something that can fill that side of the room as well.